Like, for sure, there's a moment where, like, halfway through your step sequence, you're just like, what's the point?
Welcome back to another episode of That Figure Skating Show. Unfortunately, the Canadian Championships were canceled a couple weeks ago, but we did get to see some Canadian skating at the Skate Canada Challenge event that was done virtually a few weeks ago. It was the only time we've seen many of these Canadian skaters, which makes it pretty interesting with the World Championships coming up soon, and next year being the Olympic year in Beijing.
Yeah, and it's such a kind of crazy set of circumstances because nationals would be your selection team for Worlds, and Worlds is the Olympic qualifier. And our Canadians have no international experience right now. I mean, a lot of the skaters around the world don't, but no competition time. They can't really see how they stack up against their competition heading into the Olympics. So this is very uncharted territory for a lot of our athletes.
And with so much of the team being young without that much international experience, it is even more flying in blind. There are some veterans at the top, especially in ice dance and in pairs, and a couple of the men have been around for a little while, but even still, this is such uncharted territory that it's going to be really interesting to see how these skaters pivot and handle this this new world of figure skating.
Speaking of younger skaters, let's head into ice dance, which I think would be our best contention for medal, with Piper and Paul leading the helm. But we also have a young team in Marjorie Lejoie and Zachary Lagat. Their first senior season was the 2019-2020 season, and of course there was supposed to be the Worlds, but canceled due to the pandemic. You can tell the difference between, if we're looking at Lawrence and Nikolai and Piper and Paul, you can see that they're still very young. I think they're 21 and 20 respectively, but they're very youthful and energetic. That Rio freedance had me exhausted. But I hated and loved the bird concept because I'm distrustful of birds. I'm kind of afraid of birds. I don't like them. They carry disease. I guess humans do too. But you can tell that they're still a little bit pokey. They don't have the finesse and the run of the edge and, mature connection that a lot of these other teams do that are, in their late 20s to early 30s. But given their trajectory heading into last season, I think they're going to do quite well. I don't really have big expectations for them right now, but I think just building is their goal. Well, heading to our next pair that we actually haven't seen in a while, Lawrence Fournier-Baudroy and Nikolai Sorensen. They, in 2019, were on a great start with 2 bronze medal finishes at both their Grand Prix. But then, unfortunately, Nikolai had to undergo knee surgery, which resulted in them obviously playing out of nationals for continents, slated to go to Worlds, but I think they withdrew before they were even canceled. But their free dance is very different. Last year it was more bluesy. This year they're kind of doing, like a Mother Gaia Spartacus / Screaming Woman of Troy. That's what I call that music. I hope it's not culturally insensitive, but
yeah, no, I totally know what you're saying. We're used to this passionate kind of love stuff that they do so well. They have such strong connection, but I liked it. It took me a bit to get into it too, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of like North mythology meets Mediterranean mythology. But they've got some really cool inventive moves, like that opening lift, especially when he goes onto one foot. It's already wow when she's up there, and the one foot just adds it. He's a really big guy. They're a bigger team, and of course in terms of height. And so they're very striking, very powerful, and I love watching Laurence. She does every move with purpose. I love watching her hands. They never stop moving. They finish to an extension and go into whatever needs to come next as she like goes out and goes to like maybe grab his face. There's always kind of an intention there, which I think is what sets them apart.
You could also see that it's been a little bit of time since they've competed. The twizzles were a little shaky. The choreographic lift at the end was a little shaky too. You could see he was frustrated at the end of the program, not super happy with how it went. But you know, as an athlete, you want to come back with a strong punch, and sometimes you can build that up.
And you know, heading into Worlds potentially, if they get named to the team, I think they'll best their top 10 finish that they had a few years ago. You know, with the lighter field that there is.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah. Let's talk about our top team, our veterans, Piper Gilles and Paul Poirier, keeping their both sides program.
Joni Mitch.
Joni Mitch. She's that, you know, she looking at them from both sides now, not surprising. Piper and Paul's program is still beautiful. I'm watching it and doing this along, even watching on my computer screen. All the little changes that they've made, you know, transitions in and out of their spin were really cool, but still keeping with that feeling of, you know, contrast and love and disappointment, all those things. So they're just adding little flourishes here and there, and it looks incredible and beautiful. Before the cancellation of 2020 Worlds, they were very much hitting the mid to high 120s, which puts them right in the conversation with the teams that would be at Worlds. And, you know, talking to Paul, this whole season has been kind of, you know, a letdown after another, cancellation of nationals, cancellation of Skate Canada, this being their only time to compete. So they are definitely coming in every day and looking forward to Beijing 2022 while waiting to hear about whether Worlds is going to happen or not. And I think Paul and Piper do have a good chance at a medal at Worlds because Papadakis and Cesar are saying they're not going to compete. They're looking towards Beijing. Sinitsina and Katsalepov, she had her knee injury during this season, as well as coming down with COVID-19 and is dealing with the after effects, such as lethargy and lung damage. That leaves just the two top American teams, Maddie and Zach and Maddie and Evan, and the second place Russian team, Stepanova and Bugin. And they've beaten the Russian team and Maddie and Zach before, so that puts them at a good place to actually, you know, get a medal at Worlds. And that would be a nice little gift in a year that's been, you know.
And their outfits are spectacular. I mean, that color is one of the best colors on the ice.
Good job, Carol. That Merlot is just, yeah.
Delicious. All right, so let's move into the men. At Challenge was missing Keegan Messing. Actually, our only Canadian international medal this season at Skate America. He got a bronze. Not sure.
That feels like forever ago, to be honest, too.
It does feel like forever ago, like 3 seasons ago. I don't know. Time doesn't even make sense anymore. I don't know what day it is half the time. Can't imagine what the skaters feel. At least they have a schedule, you know?
He wasn't at this challenge event, but he is up in Alaska doing other things. And what I'm alluding to is that he is having a baby with his wife. Congratulations to them both. Yes. And yeah, we'll see what happens with the Worlds.
But really great to see our men skating so well. Let's start in third place. Honorable mention, Corey Serkelly looks amazing. You know, he's a double dipper. He's a dancer and a single skater. Looks to be focusing more on his singles now. Beautiful triple axel. Yeah, your boy. Beautiful triple axel. And really starting to, you know, come into his own as maturity's growing. So happy to see that for him. He's quite young, 18, I believe. Our top two guys, Nam and Roman, were both excellent. Nam, a couple mistakes, but looking quite solid given everything. I do think, you know, we've talked about how with the way this season's rolling out and with the lack of exposure to competition and audience, I can see there's a bit more mutedness in terms of performance in his skating. He is someone who thrives off a crowd. Going into the World Championships, should he be named? Because we do only have one spot in the men, which is crazy because we have some strong men in the field. I do think he will need to step that up and reinvigorate his performance that he does so well. He's such a performer. Would definitely like to see that come out of him a bit more.
Well, the free program too is completely different from his last free program last season, which was a Beatles medley. This one is my favorite person, Josh Groban. I don't want you to raise me up anywhere. Don't touch me. I just no more. So it's a little.
I thought of you when I watched it. I thought of you.
So it is definitely a lull, and I like that he's reaching out of his comfort zone. I wish it wasn't Josh Groban, but I think that's kind of also where the dip happens. With those mellower pieces of music, you really have to lift, or the music will kind of pull you down. So I think that's a little bit what he has to work on. But again, inconsistent training, all these different things, and lack of competition prep and exposure.
Well, and also letdowns, right? Like getting prepared for a competition and then having it taken away from you, it can get really annoying. I can only imagine what it must feel like. Oh, are we going to do this? Or are we not? Oh, we're actually doing this. Okay, here we go. It's not exactly the most invigorating approach to competing. So I can only imagine that it's pretty challenging to really get into your program.
For sure, there's a moment where halfway through your step sequence, you're just like, what's the point? But keep going, guys. I know it's hard, and this will end at some point.
We're rooting for you.
We are. Roman Sadovsky, our number one, winning nationals for the first time last season, medaling at NHK Trophy, having that good momentum leading into Worlds. For continents, he fumbled a little bit, therefore he wasn't. I think when the team was announced, he wasn't actually selected for Worlds. I think it was Nam that was slated to go at that time. But he's looking really good. Those quad sows look absolutely beautiful. His lines, again, I can talk about them for days. They go on for days.
Yeah. Triple axel has improved a lot too. It looks more solid. His takeoff looks more crisp, and he looks more comfortable with it. And when he's on, he's hard to beat. He gallops around the ice. His long legs, he's like an eagle flying. It's just like whoa. Yeah, covers the ice in 2 crossovers. It's amazing to watch him. And he's got softness, he's got power, he's got the jumps, he's got the spins and the flexibility, he's got emotionality, he's got the whole package. He's a beautiful skater, and so when he puts it together, he's dangerous. And I'm excited to see him be more consistent with that delivery in competition, especially during COVID.
Yeah. So how do you think our men shape up heading into a Worlds in Stockholm?
If I had to pick who I think Skate Canada will send, I think it will be Roman. He's the Canadian champion. He won challenge, but I wouldn't be surprised if they send Nam or Keegan. All of those skaters are kind of in a position that they look ready and worthy of going to the World Championships for Canada.
All right, on to the women, the Canadian women. They're doing okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. They're doing okay, both those letters. When we are talking about women in figure skating right now, all of us go directly to Russia. We are constantly inundated on Instagram with 10-year-olds ripping quad toes from multiple camps, not even just a Thierry Tudoritz's camp. So when we're talking about the medal contention for our women, it's kind of out of the realm right now, which is okay. Building years, building quadrennials happen in every country. So let's start with what we have here in Canada, and the one leading us and our top woman right now, Madeline Schizas. She is turning 18 actually when this episode should be coming up. So happy 18th birthday, Madeline, or Maddie. I've never called her Madeline before. But a little bit of her history. She has no junior Grand Prix experience. She was constantly passed over for any assignments, but then came third at nationals. And then during the 2019 season was the only Canadian woman to medal at any international event in junior and senior. And then still got passed over for the world team for 2020. But now she is our top Canadian woman, it seems. And during this lockdown, during this pandemic, has shown improvement, adding new jumps to her arsenal.
I'm so impressed with the rate at which she's improving. Well, you know, we saw at nationals last year, she was like there. She had the national title in her hands and just kind of did like 5 single axles or something. I don't know. Which is
four single axles.
Good, such a good double axle. And you know, that's experience that you can't buy. That's like, you know, a 16-year-old. I don't know where I am right now kind of situation happening, but she looks a little more settled. She looks more confident. Her artistry's coming along, you know, big thanks to the great Asher Hill. But, you know, her technical ability is amazing. She's so efficient on her takeoffs. Her jumps look so easy, and there's room in them. Really excited for what she's doing and how quickly she's ascending. It's pretty remarkable.
You know, big shout out to her coaches, Nancy Lemaire and Derek Schmidt, doing a fantastic job with her. When I came into the rink back in the summer after like lockdown, I was astounded too, and just seeing everything. I'm like, what? It was crazy because, you know, at this challenge event, she was the only one to skate clean, you know, with her she had the LUTs before, but now it's like consistent and there and amazing and powerful with that triple S triple toe combination. Her, like you said, her jumps are quick and efficient. She's very, very, very powerful as well. She likes to give her on the ice. I feel like I've almost been knocked down by her a few times, but that's because I have no spatial awareness. But and with all that being said, and her huge improvement, there were days that she couldn't even find ice to skate on. She actually had to be skating outside on the outdoor arenas. Thank God we live in Canada and it gets pretty cold. And that's like our national pastime. So again, even more outstanding. What I would like to obviously see, because I have a little bit more critique, is just more commitment to the choreography and more commitment to the performances and everything like that. But again, like you say, she's young. She's just about to turn 18. And with these triple, she really holds her own as a top Canadian skater. And at Worlds, I think, you know, if she skates the way she's skating, like 2 clean programs, it would be great to see her break through the top 15 because not only do we have the Russians, we have Young Yu from Korea, we have the Japanese girls. Rika Kira has been shown to do quad sour toe now. So good for her. Up from here, and I wish her the best, and I do hope she gets named to the Canadian team for Worlds. And talking to her, she's excited and really wants to have the opportunity to go.
And so in second place was Allison Schumacher, coming off a great nationals last year, really breaking through in senior. She's such a light and whimsical skater. She's, you know, like very endearing skater. Jumps look super easy. I definitely think she needs to improve her speed to be more competitive with the top international skaters. The arsenal isn't quite what she needs in order to really be competitive with those top girls. But her consistency is improving, her maturity is improving. She's starting to come into her own and express a little more on the ice, but she's on the right track. And it's nice to see that she's settling into senior and looks like she belongs there. It wasn't just a one-off thing.
Yeah, I agree 100% with everything you just said. I love her skating quality. I like how her jumps also don't have a lot of setup into them and just nice and light, and then right back into choreography. There was, I think, the last jump she did in her program before her step sequence was an axel, and then right into like a back drag and then a step sequence out of nowhere. I really like that about her. Our next female skater, which is Gabrielle Daleman, who, you know, has had a rough go of it recently. She was a world's bronze medalist, skating an amazing program in the team event to help her team secure the gold medal at the Olympics. And, going from that career high to, now struggling with the jump she used to find so easy. What did you think about her, again, with that coupled with uncertainty, like her performance here at Challenge?
Well, I trained with Gabby for quite a while, and she is a tough person, and she works hard, and she's very feisty. She struggled quite a bit in the free program and the short program with her jumps. But then at the end of the program, she looked somewhat satisfied. So given that, it's hard to know exactly where she's been at.
Yeah, and she's been on social media, on Twitter and the gram, talking about how she's really excited to show what she's been working on. So I think she really is building that confidence, showing that she's working hard and really looking forward to Beijing and getting back to the level that she once was. And like you said, I wish her the best, and I wish her happiness in skating and to find the joy and then to find the passion, and hopefully that translates to the level that she wants to be at.
Yeah, her performances. So with Canada having 2 spots for women at the World Championships, and with Alicia Pineau having pulled out of this entire season to focus on the Olympic season next year, that makes the selection for our world team that much more interesting. Asher, what are your predictions?
Well, I think it would be absolutely foolish for Skate Canada to pass over on Madeline Schizas again. They did it last season. Don't do it again. And then for the second spot, as it stands right now, and as like you say, with the snapshot we have right now and the only evidence we have, I would think Allison would get it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're doing monitoring and stuff, but still, for me, it's Allison.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I think Allie's a shoo-in.
Puns. Welcome back.
All right, and then moving forward onto the pairs, we have 2 spots. Let's start with our champions, Kirsten and Mike, skating to The Blower's Daughter by Damien Rice.
Just like you said it would be.
Beautiful piece of music. I think it looks great on them. They, their maturity keeps growing. Their attention to detail looks, they look fantastic. Some mistakes in the free on one of the jumps for Kirsten, and both the throws were a little messy. An issue with the lift, but a common theme: training and preparing and then pulling back, training and preparing and then pulling back. It can make it really challenging. And then when you finally get that one time to compete, you can build it up. So I think this will help them work out the kinks leading into the World Championships. They are by far our top team, and they are still in medal contention at the World Championships. The Russian teams are looking very strong. The Chinese teams are always strong. There are Alexa and Brandon from the States are looking strong. There are a lot of strong teams, but Kirsten and Mike are in the mix for a world podium. And looking at that second spot for Worlds for our Canadian pairs team, Evelyn Walsh and Trent Michaud, our last year's national silver medalists, were not at the challenge skate. Trent sustained an injury right before taping, so they weren't able to perform. Hopefully they are ready for the World Championships. They are for sure the shoe-in for the second team to go to the World Championships. They're very strong and improving themselves for Canada internationally time and time again. So we wish Trent a speedy recovery. Hopefully he is already back and killing it in practice, and would love to see them both at the World Championships.
Well, everyone, that is a look at the Canadian team at Challenge and our potential Canadian team for Worlds. Let us know who you think should be named to the team, who you're excited to see. Should Worlds even happen? Fingers crossed if it does.
Cross tighter than Yuzu's feet in the air. Cross them real tight.
What he said.
Make sure you subscribe, and we will see you next week.